This is my invitation to get lost in Lost. Okay, so last night, I don't know if you saw the live stream. Some of you watching this may have seen the live stream we did last night on all our regular Is This Thing On shows. And it was the 6th appearance from MJ from Reading This Life, a very close friend. And we were chatting away anyway. And me and Dave have been saying for a long time, we wanted to start talking about Lost. We wanted to rewatch the series Lost and maybe do some videos on it, some live streams on it, if anyone wanted to join in. And MJ hadn't seen it before, and she said she was up for starting to watch it. So we were chatting away about it, and then we decided that we'd aim to watch 2 episodes a week, starting from the 22nd of September. Starting from the 22nd of September, which is in a few weeks' time. The show is one of the most talked about shows of the last 20 years. Came out in 2004. Came out on the 22nd of September in 2004. MJ found that out. Very clever. So it's coming up for, well, it would have been 21 years now, isn't it? So it would have been 20 years last year. So it's just a good time to sort of look back on it, because it's been such a big gap since it first aired. It will be my 3rd time watching it. So I watched it when it was first on, and I rewatched it again with my son, and that was a number of years ago. So it's kind of fresh again. There'll be some things I definitely remember, some memorable things. But I thought what would be nice is to announce that. So if you do want to get involved, please write in the comments, and we'll probably start a Voxer chat about it. But, we'll do various things, and we'll have live streams and stuff. But, and as far as I know, all 3 of us are going to announce this. I don't know, but I think so. But what I thought it'd be nice, and this also comes from a suggestion from Dave and MJ, I'm going to talk about 10 reasons why you should watch Lost. Okay, so I'm going to go 10 to 1. So my first reason I think is the most, my number 1 reason is the number 1 chief, most important reason. So we'll go from 10 to 1. So 10, I've kind of ranked them in a way. But yeah, I should change 2 and 3. I think that's more of a sensible order. But my number 1 is definitely the most important reason to watch it, I think. So, number 10, the innovation. So I think this show, Lost, was really innovative. It was breaking new ground on certain things, and which some of it I'll use with the other points, but I don't think there's any denying in how it sort of created this legacy, because it was so groundbreaking, and it really changed the way drama was put on the screen. There's so many different layers to it. So it's very innovative, and I think that's one reason to kind of maybe spark your curiosity, The 9th reason on this list, the unpredictability. So kind of going off that idea that it was very innovative, it's very unpredictable. There is definitely an argument that it's too unpredictable in some ways, because there was, and we will talk about this as we watch it, but there are some strands, I don't think it's spoiling anything, there's some strands that people felt weren't explored enough. But there were so many strands that it was very unpredictable. You start going along a particular trajectory, and then it goes off on another tangent, or something else will be introduced, or what you thought something was about, it's actually about that, or those kind of things were happening, and that's fantastic. The show was kept being really fresh, and it kept introducing new things. That is a positive thing. There's a negative thing to it as well, but it is a positive thing. It is definitely a positive thing, more than a negative thing, and it was one of the magic things about the show. So the 8th point is the plot. So the plot, again without any spoilers, encompasses so many different things. There are so many things it touches on. There's so many stylistic things that it delves into as well. And there's so many ways that the plot builds on itself and becomes really intense sometimes, becomes really curious and mysterious sometimes. And straight away, there's a whole air of mystery literally just after the first episode. And so the plot develops in such an interesting way. And sometimes driven by the characters as well. And once you get to know the characters, it makes sense that those particular characters are doing those particular things. So the plot is definitely an interesting thing about the show as well. The 7th point, the flashbacks. Again, I don't think I'm spoiling anything because I think it's quite well known that the show had this sort of technique where different episodes would feature a flashback about a significant character in the show. And there was a huge ensemble of characters, but the flashback technique was really clever because each episode you get to know the characters more, and this backstory stuff. Some of the backstory stuff had nothing to do with the really detailed stuff that was happening on the island, but it kind of informed why those characters were doing what they were doing, why they'd react that way in their experiences. You know, they might have had some heartbreak, or they might have had something they had to deal with in their real life before they went on the island, and sometimes it was very revealing what their life was like. It was a very different kind of life, that kind of thing. So the flashbacks are really cool. The 6th point, the music. The music was awesome, and it was only when I was rewatching some clips I was thinking I always loved the music, and there was a certain type of score composition as well that you see it copied a lot in other things ever since. So there's lots of ways that the show is innovative, but actually the music score has been so influential. There's so many times it's, you know, when I've been watching things and I thought this just sounds like Lost. You know, so I think the music is a really good thing as well, and good reason to watch it, and another thing that's been really influential. The 5th point, the cast, the actors that played the roles, such a brilliant cast. It's unusual, I think, to get that many people playing that many characters where everyone is perfectly cast and everyone lights up the screen. I personally liked every character as far as finding them interesting, and definitely thought the actors were brilliantly chosen. And some of them, I think everyone will have like 4 or 5 characters they absolutely love watching. And a lot of that is the cast, the actors that played them, you know, they were fantastic. So that's my 5th point. My 4th point, the conversation. So as I said when I first started this video, this is one of the most talked about shows on TV, full stop, that's ever been on TV. You know, you might have people talk about Game of Thrones and Better Call Saul, Breaking Bad, and those kinds of things. And yeah, absolute Black Mirror, that gets talked about a lot. But nothing like the amount of times people have started conversation with Lost. At the time, people were talking about it constantly, but it's never really gone away. If you start talking about it, then suddenly the conversation gets reanimated. And if you want to be involved in that, that's another reason to watch it, because it is something that you can endlessly talk about, because there's so many different aspects of it to talk about, which I won't delve into because it'll be too spoilery. The 3rd point, the philosophy. So actually, there's some really deep moments in it. Some of the characters have to go through real hardship stuff, sometimes in their flashbacks, and sometimes with some of the things that happens on the island. And as new characters come into it, some of those new characters have to deal with stuff as well. And yeah, it's got some really interesting, thought-provoking, philosophical stuff as well. What really matters in life? What matters in your relationships? How does what you grew up with inform what you're like now? How does your family construct who you are? Your parents, all that kind of. There's some really interesting philosophical points made in the show, so I think that's a good 3rd point. The 2nd point, the classic moments. The classic moments. They're always, when I think of Lost, certainly now before I do this rewatch, I think of other things in the rewatch. But at the moment, when I think of the show, I immediately think of those 4 or 5 moments in the show that blew me away, that made me gasp, that made me smile, like a grin going across my whole face, made me get quite upset, or make me really tense, or made me short of breath. There are some absolutely incredible moments in that show, and that is why it's so special, really. The moments that, if you said certain lines or you just briefly described it to someone, they'd go, "Oh my God, that moment just took my breath away." There are these moments, and it's because, you know, they did spend the time expanding the plot of the show and the layers of the show so that they could have these moments. And there's so many different ways that the plot could be added to, and you know, you could go into the B plot, the C plot, the D plot, and if you kept coming back to that, then you'd have these moments that were just jaw-dropping. So that's the thing as well. And the last thing, which again, those points wouldn't make any difference. They wouldn't be effective without my last point, the characters. I think the single most reason to watch Lost is the characters. Fantastically drawn characters, brilliantly acted, as I said. But the way they wrote it, with these really fascinating people at the centre of the show, stuck on this island, a whole huge cast of characters, but a huge range of characters. They've all had this different life experience, and the way that there's certain couples, you know, you've got Michael and his son Walt and their dog. You've got Sun and Jin. You've got the relationship between Sawyer and Jack and Kate. You've got Charlie and Claire. Hurley, his relationship with everyone. Hurley's such a brilliantly drawn character, but it's not part of like a connected couple or whatever. You've got the young couple as well that I've forgotten their name, Shannon, I think, was one of them, Shannon and the guy. There's all sorts of different ways that the characters are such a compelling part of the show. I love the characters so much. There's about 8 of the characters that I really, really love. Some of my favourite characters in TV are in that show. So yeah, for me, that's the biggest reason to watch it. Please comment below if you've seen it and what you think are the reasons to watch it. If you are interested, let me know, and me and Dave and MJ will watch it with you. So we're going to start on the 22nd of September. Try and get 2 a week done. We'll see how, we'll kind of like check in with everybody, see if that's working. And it should be really a lot of fun because it is such an incredible show. And then, you know, obviously at the end of the entire process, we can all discuss the ending. But I'd love it if you wanted to get involved. So, you know, if there's a whole bunch of us, that'd be a lot of fun. But either way, please comment below on what you think of the show. And I'm going to leave you with a little snapshot of this wonderful thing called The Characters of Lost. Stay curious.
Hey, break it up! Break it up! Get off! Hey, come on, break it! Bitch! Come on, let's go! That's it! It's over! Come on! That's it! Think of this friend! You want some more of me, boy? Tell everyone what you told me! Tell them that I crashed the plane! Go on! Tell them I made the plane crash! Buddy! What is going on? What's going on?
Look, my kid found these in the jungle.
And this guy was sitting in the back row of business class the whole flight, never got up. Hands folded underneath the blanket. And for some reason, just pointing this out, the guy I saw next to him didn't make it.
Thank you so much for observing my behavior.
You don't think I saw him pull you out of line before we boarded? Get off! Come on, bring it!
Stop! We found the transceiver, but it's not working. Can anybody help?
Yes, I might be able to.
Oh, great, perfect. Let's trust this guy.
Hey, we're all in this together, man. Let's treat each other with a little respect.
Shut up, Lardo. Hey. Give it a break. Whatever you say, Doc. You're the hero.